I'm Shirley.
Standing in my glass office at the new quantum computing center, I'm looking at the screens behind me that show data from quantum flow systems worldwide. The building hums with powerful quantum cores, far beyond old servers. Climate models change fast, medicine advances by seconds, and markets move with new algorithms. These numbers have proven every doubt and mockery wrong. 6 months ago, I was at an annual family business dinner at Uncle Henry's mansion. It was a display of old wealth and outdated attitudes. Crystal chandeliers cast shadows over the 20-seat mahogany dining table, and each place setting was worth more than my first laptop. Portraits of the stern-faced Thompson ancestors in gilded frames seemed to look down disapprovingly, much like my living relatives. Uncle Henry, a well-known Wall Street veteran, swirled his 1990 Bordeaux in a glass that probably cost more than my monthly rent. So, Shirley's still messing around with that computer thing? What's it called again? His tone carried decades of business authority. Quantum Pulse Technologies, I replied quietly, taking a sip of water. They'd forgotten to pour me wine, assuming I couldn't contribute to Uncle Henry's precious collection. The crystal water glass was filled with tap water, a symbol of my perceived failure in their eyes. Right, he chuckled. The revolutionary AI system that's going to change cloud computing. How's that going? Around the table, my successful relatives exchanged knowing smirks. Cousin Ryan, who had just made partner at a big law firm, barely hid his laughter behind a bite of steak. Aunt Lucy adjusted her Tiffany diamond necklace with a look of condescension, while her daughter Lily scrolled through her phone, probably updating her rich kids in New York Instagram. We're making progress, I said simply, not mentioning the breakthrough we'd achieved in our quantum coherence maintenance system last week. That breakthrough had made the biggest players in the tech world scramble to schedule meetings with us and had transformed our humble garage into the most advanced quantum computing lab on the East Coast. Dad cleared his throat and put down his silver-rimmed plate. Shirley, maybe it's time to think about joining the family business. We always need good people in our tech department. Thompson Enterprises has been a mainstay in the industry for 40 years. An entry-level position to start. Uncle Henry added grandly, gesturing with his wine glass, but there's room for growth if you work hard, just like I did, starting with an Ivy League MBA and a small $15 million loan from your grandfather. I looked around at their signs of business success. The $30 million mansion bought with the profits of their traditional software company, the fleet of luxury cars in the driveway, and the original Monet on the wall, all built on soon-to-be obsolete technology. I'm comfortable where I am, I replied, cutting into my deliberately smaller portion of steak, a subtle reminder of my low status in their eyes. Comfortable. Cousin Ryan scoffed. Living in that tiny apartment and paying yourself minimum wage? My first-year associates make more than you've ever seen. What was your income last year? $50,000. $52, I corrected, not mentioning the $10 billion in venture capital offers we'd turned down last month. Let them think I was struggling. It would make the news I was about to share even sweeter. Mom touched my arm sympathetically. We're just worried about you, dear. It's been 4 years. You've been chasing this fantasy while your college classmates have succeeded. Uncle Henry interrupted, signaling the butler for another bottle of wine. What does your technology do again? Make computers think faster? I explained. It's a quantum-based AI architecture that revolutionizes cloud computing efficiency through coherent state manipulation and advanced qubit stabilization. We've achieved sustained quantum coherence at room temperature. Ryan smirked and exchanged glances with Lily. Magic computers. Meanwhile, my firm just landed a major account. Real money, not theoretical physics. My phone buzzed in my pocket. I checked it discreetly under the table. It was from my lead developer. Final offer approved. Paperwork ready. Google CEO confirms personal attendance. Uncle Henry pressed, at least tell me you're finally looking for real investors. That seed money you turned down last year was a great deal. I said, it was undervalued. That investment would have bought half my company for a fraction of its worth. They'd been furious when I declined, especially after Uncle Henry had boasted about it at his country club. Undervalued. Uncle Henry nearly choked on his wine. We offered you $1 million for that worthless code. That was the best offer you'd ever get for your little project. Another buzz from my phone. This time it was my quantum physics team. Google's lawyers have finished due diligence. Final valuation confirmed at $8 billion. They're ready. I carefully asked, how's the family company's cloud computing division doing? I heard some big competitors have been taking your market share. Uncle Henry waved his hand dismissively, but I saw the worry in his eyes. Traditional solutions for traditional businesses. Not everyone needs fancy AI features. Our clients value stability. I agreed mildly, thinking of the clients I knew were about to leave. But I hear Google has some ambitious quantum initiatives. Google? Dad's fork paused halfway to his mouth. Years of tech industry experience made him recognize the weight of that name. What about Google? Before I could answer, the sound of tires on the gravel driveway caught everyone's attention. Through the floor to ceiling windows, we saw several black limousines pulling in, led by a distinctive Tesla with government plates. Aunt Lucy asked Uncle Henry, "Expecting someone?" The butler appeared at the door, looking flustered. "Sir, there are some executives from Google. They're asking for Miss Shirley Thompson, and the Google CEO is with them." The sound of Uncle Henry's precious wine glass slipping from his fingers seemed to happen in slow motion. The crystal shattered against the marble, in sync with their shattering assumptions about me. The dining room fell silent as Emily Carter, Google's head of acquisitions, strode in, her Louboutin heels clicking on the marble. Behind her came a procession that made Uncle Henry's wine-stained face go pale. The Google CEO himself, flanked by top quantum computing executives, 2 senior VPs, and a team of lawyers carrying briefcases. "Miss Thompson." Emily smiled professionally. "I apologize for interrupting your dinner, but given the magnitude of the announcement, we thought a personal touch was appropriate." "Magnitude?" Uncle Henry demanded, wine still dripping from his trembling hands. "What announcement?" "Shirley, what have you done?" The Google CEO stepped forward. "Miss Thompson has done something remarkable. She's revolutionized quantum computing." He turned to me with respect. "The paperwork is ready whenever you are." I stood up calmly, straightening my jacket, the same one they'd mocked as cheap. "The acquisition of Quantum Pulse Technologies by Google," I explained to my stunned family. "Maybe we should move to Uncle Henry's study for the details." "Acquisition." Ryan spluttered. "What acquisition?" Emily pulled out a sleek tablet. "The paperwork is ready for your final review, Miss Thompson. $8 billion as agreed, plus the performance incentives we discussed." The sound of Dad's wine glass shattering on the marble floor echoed through the silent room, followed by Mom's gasp. $8 billion, the Google CEO confirmed. And that's just the initial payment. With performance incentives, it could go over $12 billion in 3 years, considering the military and intelligence community's interest. Uncle Henry's face turned purple. "This is a joke. Shirley's company is worthless. We looked at the financials last year." Emily replied coolly, "The financials you saw were deliberately limited. Miss Thompson has been operating in stealth mode, developing technology that makes traditional quantum computing obsolete." She pulled up a holographic display from her tablet, showing complex quantum algorithms. "This is what $8 billion of revolutionary technology looks like." Mom's hands trembled as she pulled up the news on her phone. Breaking: Google acquires AI startup Quantum Pulse for $8 billion. Tech world stunned by quantum computing breakthrough. Unknown startup becomes New York's biggest success story of the year. "But you work out of a garage," Ryan protested. "I drove past it last month. It looked abandoned." I corrected him. "A garage with 3 quantum computers and the most advanced AI testing facility on the East Coast. We spent our money on innovation, not decoration." Emily nodded approvingly. "The modesty of your facility was actually one of the things that impressed us. Most of your competitors wasted millions on fancy offices while you invested everything in the technology. Your quantum coherence breakthrough alone is worth billions." Uncle Henry trailed off. "That's why you lived like a Like a failure? I finished for him. I lived modestly because every dollar went into development. That worthless code you offered $1 million for? We'd already turned down $3 billion from Microsoft and $4 billion from Amazon. Dad's hands shook as he tried to clean up his spilled wine. Shirley, why didn't you tell us? Would you have understood? Every time I tried to explain the technology, you talked over me about real business. I turned to Emily. The documents? She handed me the tablet, showing contract terms that made Ryan's law partner salary seem like pocket change. Once you sign, you'll join our board of directors as Chief Innovation Officer. Your team will have unlimited resources to continue development. The president has already requested a briefing. Chief Innovation, Mom whispered. Yes, the Google CEO smiled. At your age, you'll be the youngest C-level executive in Google's history. The quantum computing division will operate with complete autonomy under your direction. Ryan was frantically Googling on his phone. This says the technology could be worth over $60 billion in 5 years. The military applications are classified. I said, like most of what we've been developing while you thought I was just playing around. The quantum encryption capabilities alone have the NSA completely redesigning their protocols. Lily had stopped posting on Instagram. Her influencer lifestyle suddenly seemed trivial. But you drive an old Toyota. Because flashy cars don't write better code, I replied. But I did buy the building your favorite boutique is in, and most of that block. Amazing what you can do with quiet money. The Google CEO checked his watch. The press conference is in an hour. The market's already reacting to the rumors. We should finalize this. Uncle Henry stood up abruptly. Now wait just a minute. As the head of this family's technology interests, I should be involved in any negotiations. Like you were involved in offering $1 million for an $8 billion company? Emily asked pointedly. Please sit down, Mr. Thompson. The adults are doing business now. Now, as my family stands in my office, humbled, I know that the future has arrived from the garage they once called worthless. I offer them a chance to save their company, but it comes at the cost of their pride. It's a new beginning, and I'm ready to show them what true innovation means.